Knocked hard on the window, then the doorframe, but didn't get an answer. Jesus, you're going to break the damn glass. Stop. Manny stood watching him. He should have heard that, right? Mike asked, his nerves going crazy. What if Jim was in there needing help, and they were all right there and did nothing? I'm going inside. Mike, you can't just go in there. Manny hissed, but it was too late. Mike had already removed his switchblade, popped the lock, turned the knob, and was easing the back door open within seconds. Don't just walk in there, Mike. Fuck. I'm a concerned citizen. I have the right to check it out. Mike rumbled, then disappeared inside. What fucking law is that? Manny called after him, but Mike ignored it. Yo, Jim, it's Mike. You in here? He called loud enough for his voice to carry to the second floor. If the old man was in his bedroom watching a riveting marathon of Bonanza, Mike didn't want to give him a heart attack. I'm just checking on you, buddy. We haven't seen you today. Nothing appeared out of the ordinary in the immaculate home. Not a dish in the sink or a throw pillow out of place in the family room. Maybe he did go out of town. But Mike still wanted to knock on Jim's bedroom door just to be certain. Despite Manny's ridiculous example, Mike had heard stories of elderly people who lived alone and had accidents where no one found them for days. It's Mike, Jim. We're almost finished with the yard if you want to come take a look. Mike felt a bit foolish, like he was talking to no one, but an unnerving feeling prickled at his spine just before he heard a rush of footsteps behind him. Too fast to be Jim's. Mike spun and ducked just as a steel bat was swung at the side of his head that would have surely split it in two. The weapon struck the oak banister behind him instead, causing it to break and splinter as Mike locked eyes on his attacker, a younger man he'd never seen before. Mike leaped backward at the second wild swing that aimed for his right side. Motherfucker! Bloodshot, furious green eyes were lasered on him as the man held the bat in a two-handed grip and raised it high over his head, intending to do some serious damage. But the man had no idea who he was fighting. Years of bar brawls, holding tank feuds, and club fights had made Mike the crazy son of a bitch he was today. While he was no longer a gang enforcer, he still possessed the mentality. And the skill. He was always fearless, irritated, and didn't give two fucks about anyone that wasn't his crew or family. His attacker's next attempt to crush his skull left his abdomen vulnerable, and Mike balled his fist and slammed it into the man's midsection, hard enough to make him double over. He could have swung again and nailed the guy in the jaw, but Mike wasn't going for permanent damage. The bat hung unsteadily in his aggressor's left hand as he stumbled backward into a table, trying to grasp on for purchase, but ended up toppling over it. The 2-foot glass vase in the center of the foyer table went crashing to the ground, covering the marble floor with shards of crystal and long-stemmed hydrangeas. I called the police, the man barked, wiping at the blood dripping down his cheek from where he'd been nicked by the glass. He appeared to struggle to take in air as Mike stood over him, barely winded. They're coming right now. Fuck. Look, man, I'm sorry for the misunderstanding, but I came in to check on Mr. Reynolds. I work for him. Didn't you see us out there for the last 2 hours? Bullshit. The guy appeared to be in his 20s, maybe 25, and recovering from one hell of a hangover or bender. He had on a blue and red silk wannabe Hugh Hefner robe, one Versace slipper, the other was across the hallway, and several gold necklaces hanging around his throat. He screamed spoiled, entitled millennial. Mike knew that Jim had a few grandkids, but none of them had ever come to visit while they'd been there. Mike, Manny hollered. What's going on in there? Don't come in. I'm coming out. What the hell? I'm coming out, Mike reiterated. He shook his head at the mess he'd made all over the floor. Damn it. That was going to cost him. The hell you are? The guy had managed to get to his feet, holding the bat in front of him as if it were a sword. Where is Jim? Mike asked, his voice growing louder. Get out of my grandfather's house, now! The guy hollered, raising the bat again. Mike wasn't afraid. How could he be? The man had already shown his incompetence with that weapon. Mike! Manny yelled. Get out here now! Hurry up! Mike flexed his fists as he moved around the broken table, glaring at the man still threatening him. He'd love to get one more hit in, but he already knew he'd fucked up. Why didn't he listen to Manny?